So what I used to do is I delegate it to you, and if it went well, I'm blaming it on you. But really, it's still my fault. It's still up to me. It still just affects me anyways.
Right.
So now I can't be pissed at you. I got to be pissed at me because I didn't hold you accountable enough and you didn't hold them accountable enough. So it's just, I don't know, dude.
Yeah.
This happened with sales and marketing so many times already in different organizations where I'm like, what the hell? We found leads that no one's calling. Oh, well, I didn't know. And I'm like, it's my fault. Yep. I didn't check.
Dude, I did that same exact thing. And so I did it with tasks. And so I went into the leads. This was probably about 6 months ago. And I'm like, dude, I've been training these sales guys now for 3 years. They were not using the tasks, which means like set up for the phone call for that day specifically based on the last conversation. They were just going in, clicking in leads, random leads and they got 400 leads and they're just randomly clicking. I'm like, guys, that will never, ever, ever work. You have to use tasks. I was the best car salesperson, not because I was the top closer, like the most skilled. It was because of my follow-up. I just said, hey, if I had a conversation, I got them furthest to the step and then I couldn't get them to go, I'd get next steps then. Okay, when do you have to make a decision? When are you doing this? Like, when is this? And I'd set a task for that day. I found out our acquisitions guys were not using the tasks at all. And I had no idea for years.
And whose fault is that?
That's mine. Exactly, I'm like, dude, what the frick am I was like, what am I doing? How did I assume that you guys knew this? Yeah. And so, it's all my responsibility in the training, in the onboarding, and like all of the stuff and the checking, making sure they're actually doing it. I'm just teaching them what to say. I'm not teaching or like seeing how they're doing it, which is important.
I guess I'm trying to come up with a line, but I guess it's like, just because you delegate the task, that doesn't mean you're not responsible anymore. Yeah. Something like that. Yeah. How could I say this? Let's try to come up with it. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
Oh yeah. 100%. I don't know. I always hear inspect what you expect. Just because you delegate the task does not relieve you from the responsibility.
Yeah, I think that's good. Just because you delegate the task does not relieve you from the responsibility. Yeah. Yeah, because I've done over the last few years. It's like, but I told them, and then I'm like talking around like, dude, I specifically told him to do this and he just still didn't do it. Yeah. And then it's like, it's still my fault as a leader of an organization. It doesn't matter. Like,
yep. And the question is that I've been asking now, especially working with and everything, is okay, what measurement would we measure that by, and how would we know if it's working or not working? And so then you have to know, what are you being held accountable to? So when you tell somebody to do something, okay, what are you now being held accountable to do? And what would be the indication that you're doing that or not doing that? Yeah. And so that's what we're working on, is that way, like, if you are so in the details, because that's the hardest part, is like, you got to be up here, you got to delegate, and you can't be in all the details, but also you need to know if it's working or not, right? And so what's the measurement of how you're going to do all of this stuff? And that's what I'm still working on and figuring out, but I think we're getting closer now, because it's hard, because I want to get in the nitty gritty details because I think they matter. And I hear Grant Cardone talk about that. Sometimes he'll go in, he's like, this doesn't look right, this doesn't do this. And he does get into the details sometimes, but also he's got people who are over that, who are managing all of it. And so it's like finding that balance of, what's the indicators it's going well, not going well? How would we know what the actual problem is whenever we see that it's not going well? And if the manager doesn't know, then it is your responsibility, because at the end of the day, you're responsible for 100% of all of it, because if something's not working, you have to fix it.